Well, do you know what a super predator is? Hillary Clinton coming under fire for using that term in 1996. She's explained why she used it, but her explanation doesn't hold up. This is a reality check you won't see anywhere else. Well, at a fundraiser just days ago, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton was confronted by an activist. Take a look.
Criminal justice reform and all the like. So I think we've got a very, we've got somebody saying here, we have to bring them
for mass
to
incarceration.
heel. Okay, we'll talk
I'm
about
not a super predator, Hillary Clinton.
Okay, fine, we'll talk about it.
Apologize to black people for mass incarceration.
Well, can I talk and then maybe you can listen to what I say? Okay, fine. Thank you very much.
So the young woman you heard there, her name is Ashley Williams, and she told Clinton, as you heard, "I am not a super predator." So what was she talking about? Well, she was actually referencing this excerpt from a speech back in 1996.
Not just gangs of kids anymore. They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators. No conscience, no empathy. We can talk about why they ended up that way, but first we have to bring them to heel.
Well, in an interview late last week, Clinton explained to the Washington Post what she was talking about, saying, quote, "In that speech, I was talking about the impact violent crime and vicious drug cartels were having on communities across the country, and the particular danger they pose to children and families. Looking back, I shouldn't have used those words, and I wouldn't use them today," end quote. Well, that sounds fine. The only problem is that if you go back to what Clinton was actually talking about in 1996, she wasn't talking about crimes committed against children. She was talking about crimes committed by children. Children who at that time were called super predators. It's a 20-year-old myth that has been disproven over and over, but a myth that led to some very serious consequences. In the mid-1990s, criminologists issued predictions of a coming wave of super predators. These were, they said, radically impulsive, brutally remorseless elementary school youngsters who pack guns instead of lunches and have absolutely no respect for human life. That was how super predators were defined. In 1995, John DiLulio, a professor at Princeton who coined the term super predator, predicted that the number of juveniles in custody would increase threefold in the coming years, and that by 2010, there would be an estimated 270,000 more young predators on the streets than in 1990. Those predictions would turn out to be completely untrue. Even so, something incredible came from all of it. That myth 20 years ago, it led to nearly every state in the country between 1992 and 1999 expanding laws that removed children from juvenile courts and exposed them instead to adult sentences, including life without parole. But the idea that children, especially young minority children, were becoming super predators was not only untrue, statistically it fell apart. Violent juvenile crime rates had already started to fall in the mid-1990s when this prediction was made. And by the year 2000, the juvenile homicide rate stabilized below the 1985 level. Bill Clinton has already been heavily criticized for policies that led to mass incarceration. But the super predator theories, they had an incredible toll that we still feel today. That's because right now, even as I'm speaking to you, children as young as 10 years old continue to be exposed to adult prosecution in the United States. Today in America, 10,000 children are housed in adult jails and prisons, and nearly 3,000 American children have been sentenced to die in prison. Policies that cannot be laid only at the feet of Bill and Hillary Clinton, but every politician and state leader who voted for draconian laws based on a scary name like super predator. That's Reality Check. Let's talk about that tonight on Twitter.